How can I get better at kipping pull-ups? Now, there are a few different ways that we can attack this question, and the first one is pretty obvious. You can get better at kipping pull-ups by practicing doing kipping pull-ups. So let's assume that you've taken care of the skill component, you've put some time in and you've practiced, but you're still not getting the results that you want. I'm going to give you 3 quick tips around mobility, stability, and strength, and how you might be able to utilize each one of those things to improve your capacity in a workout. Now, the first one is mobility. I see this a lot. People with thoracic spines that are all jacked up, pretty stiff, trying to go through that kipping based movement and having a hard time linking those repetitions together. A really simple way to start to be able to achieve a more efficient movement pattern is to give your body the freedom of movement that it needs to be able to create high quality positions, which mean that it's much easier for you to be able to actually execute the kipping based pattern. So if historically you might be somebody who's done a fair amount of anterior shoulder or chest based work, you may be sitting in a rounded position from office based work or driving, you might find it quite difficult to come into the session and then be able to start to get into that extension pattern, which you're going to need in that tight arch shape. Spending a few minutes before you go into a workout, mobilizing that thoracic spine into an extension shape could be all you need to start to improve the efficiency of the movement and get more kipping pull-ups in that session. Second on the list is stability. Now, if you can start to improve the stability of the shoulder, you can expect to be able to produce more force. Research has shown that we can increase up to 24% more force from the upper limb when the scapula or the shoulder is in a stable position. Lots of people struggle with shoulder stability in that hanging shape, so a real simple thing that you can do to start to build that capacity is to spend more time practicing a dead to active hang hold. In those positions, you can really double down on that by starting to really squeeze the bar to get some additional activation of your shoulder stability musculature, and also try to snap the bar to cue external rotation. There's some real simple cues just to get better at hanging and to start to cue that shoulder stabilization to build the capacity intensity. And if you spend more time working in that hang-based position, it's going to give you more shoulder stability, which is going to therefore allow you to produce more force. Finally, let's talk about strength. It might be a controversial point to finish on, but from my perspective, I really think you want to have strict pull-ups nailed down before you start moving on to a kipping-based variation. What the kip allows you to do is effectively move out of that bottom position where most people find it quite difficult from a strength perspective, and moves you into a middle range where you are typically able to produce more force. Now, trying to scale kipping pull-up capacity and ignoring the fact that you haven't got adequate amounts of strength through full range of motion is a little bit of a weak link in the chain. My suggestion here would be to start to work on strict pull-ups, build that capacity, and you're going to find that as you start to embed that additional strength into the skill-based movement, you're going to have more force at your disposal to be able to actually make the movement more efficient, and you're also going to see the endurance go up because it's taking less relative effort if you've got a bigger bank of strength to rely on to produce the same movement, because you're only ever going to be moving body weight in that kipping pull-up pattern. Strength not only means pulling force, but it also means efficiency through the movement. You might choose to use one or all 3 of those different options to try and improve the number of kipping pull-ups that you can do. From a mobility perspective, think about improving thoracic spine extension and improving your ability to get into a good overhead position. That's going to set you up in a much better shape and a more efficient opportunity to produce that kipping pull-up pattern right from the start of the movement. Secondly, building stability around the shoulder is going to help you to create more force. Also, think about building that stability. Now, you can do that on the bar as I explained. You also might want to think about throwing in some additional exercises focused on that stabilization endurance. When you come into a movement like a kipping pull-up, the more stability you've got around the shoulder, better opportunity you've got to produce force. Force is going to be more repetitions, and it's going to be more efficiency. And if you can make that movement look and feel effortless, it's going to do wonders for the number of repetitions that you can actually complete. Finally, one other thing you need to know about strength work, particularly when it comes to doing strict pull-ups, is that it takes time. This is not a quick win, and it's often why we see so many people trying to do kipping pull-ups when they can't really do any strict movements, because a strict variation is a real investment in training time. So I'd encourage you to find some time within your training week to start to regularly get into some strict pull-up work, build that strength, and you're really going to see that that's going to transfer well into a kipping based movement. So whilst one way to get better at doing kipping pull-ups is to try and do kipping pull-ups, sometimes people are just avoiding the weak links in the chain. Improve your mobility, stability, and strength, and watch what that does for the numbers.